Do you guys know who Sean Brady is? I feel like I got to start right there because a lot of people don't. And before I condescend to you, I was part of that group. Let's go back. This was probably 4 months ago. Could have been 5 months ago. In all fairness, the last 2 years of my life have been very hard to keep track of. Like the pandemic, I used to be great at keeping track of time. The pandemic threw everything off. I'm sure you can relate with that. But somewhere in recent memory, I'm going with 5 months, there's a grappling event called Fury Grappling. It's on Fight Pass. It is the most beautifully produced grappling event of all time. At any rate, they bring in this guy. The guy's named Sean Brady. UFC fighter. Beautiful record. He was 14-0. He was 15-0. Something crazy. Welterweight, not overly big. They're going to put him with Craig Jones. So he's going to go in there. He's going to get a paycheck. He's going to do the JOB. No one's looking forward to this match, including me, because Sean Brady has no chance with Craig Jones. Now, I'm going into a grappling match, but it's very relevant because the grappling match comes to conclusion, and the biggest upset of the year in grappling took place, and Sean Brady, who turns out to be a completely undefeated MMA fighter, gets his hand raised against Craig Jones. Wait a minute, who's this guy? 170 pounds. Like, there's ways to beat Craig. You go get a rule set. You go get familiar with it. You got a little experience. Craig doesn't. I don't know what the rules in Fury even are, right? No grappling promotion can have the same rules. Nobody has any idea right now when I watch the damn match what the rules were, but there's ways you could hold Craig down or get to a position. There's ways you can do it. But Sean's not big enough. And Sean's not experienced enough. Rumble Johnson wasn't big and strong and experienced enough to hold this Craig Jones down, right? And I'm taking for granted that you guys know who Craig Jones is, but he's absolutely fantastic. You got Gordon Ryan, you got Craig Jones, right? I mean, it's this very elite group. Sean Brady beats him. I can't believe what I'm watching. So I go onto something the kids call the internet. I'm looking up Sean Brady. I'm learning everything I can about this guy. And it was actually hard to get information. I was a completely undefeated MMA fighter. And he was representing a Gracie. It might be Henzo. I'm sure it is Henzo, but it was a Gracie. I'll have to leave it at that for now. He's signed to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He's fighting undercards. He's fighting tough guys, but he's beating them all. He's dominating. He's not only not losing fights, he's not losing rounds. I'm doing my research on this guy. Pretty soon I got to get on the phone. I got to call some people, start out, hey, you know this guy? Hey, this guy trains at the same gym as you. Hey, this guy's got the same coach. I start looking into Sean Brady. Apparently, this is not like a high school wrestler. This is very relevant, if this fact is true, but I'm going to tell you the story the way it was told to me. This is not a high school wrestler. This is a guy whose entrance into MMA was in the Gracie gym. He walks in the gym, I want to do some of this. And he turns out to be a ringer, and we've had guys like that. Gunnar Nelson comes to mind, just to throw a name at you. A guy that didn't have a background, but then he was this awesome wrestler. He just was. I trained with a guy named Tyson Jeffries, who didn't have a wrestling background. Team Quest, we got all wrestling. We got Olympians and whatnot. Tyson can out-wrestle everybody. Go, what's going on here? It's very rare, but every now and then you get a guy like this, and everything that I've told, Sean Brady's that guy. Then in addition to it, he's really great at competing. He's just that guy. He's just that athlete that found his sport and he found his weight class. Okay, great. I'm in on Sean Brady. But Sean's got to get his name out there. He's got to be pushing this. 15-0 in MMA. That is a crazy record. I don't give a damn where you fought at. I don't care if it's at the YMCA. I don't care how you amassed that record. Truly. I truly do not. If you're going under the unified rules, sanctioned events, in the same weight class, the word's getting out on you, people are studying you, they're watching tape. It really doesn't matter where you get that record, but it just so happens this guy got it in really hard matches. Oh, by the way, an organization located in Nevada known as the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Guy's impressive. Really impressive. Okay, what are you going to do with him? So he slowly, the word kind of gets around. And whoever sits in the rankings room spits his name out and the computer says he's number 8 in the world. So he just started speaking up. And he went directly after Belal Muhammad. He went directly after Wonder Boy. And one of his gripes towards Belal, and this is the second time I've heard this in 2 weeks. Right? Dustin Poirier was mad at Michael Chandler for calling out a bunch of guys, but not him. He got mad at him for not getting called out, which I've never heard before, but I'm kind of into it. Like, it's this new thing. And Brady went after Muhammad for the same thing. Goes, hey, you're calling out a whole bunch of guys. How come not me? It's not a bad question. I must tell you, as low-hanging a fruit as this is, and I've never seen it before, I've never seen an athlete upset that he wasn't called out. And now I've seen it twice in 2 weeks, and by the way, I like it. I really do. There's something to this, and it puts Muhammad in a tough spot, because that's Muhammad's gimmick. Muhammad's whole shtick is anyone, anywhere, anytime. And he means it. He will back it up. Anybody, anywhere you rank, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, main event, co-main event, undercard, however you want to do it, I'll be there. So when Brady gives him a taste of his own medicine, I'm curious. Because Bahal's good. He's good at the game. He's a chess player. How's he going to handle this? Well, he didn't handle it all. He said, you're damn right, I'll fight you. As a matter of fact, I agreed to fight you before. You're the one that turned it down. Those are the facts. Now, I don't know the truth of this. I don't really care. I'm just sharing with you. There's a guy named Sean Brady who's going 15-0. Oh, and by the way, is catching grappling events on the side. Oh, and by the way, he's winning those too. You guys should know about him. Now, what are you going to do with him? Are you going to go into Blahal? I haven't heard a better idea with Muhammad right now. I can't imagine that there's a more obvious fight that you book at 170 than Blahal Muhammad versus Khamzat Chimaev. But you guys agreed with me, and we all collectively agreed that that was going to be in the coveted main event spot of this ABC card that's coming up. Well, the ABC card is the Long Island card, which, by the way, already has a main event. It's not even that weight class. Now, this doesn't mean that those two can't get together. I'm just sharing for you right when we think we've got everything figured out. Turns out it's not quite as obvious. And it is fair by Sean Brady. Blahal is open. That's true. Wonder Boy is open. You're probably not going to get a response from Wonder Boy. It's not what he does. You're going to get a response from Muhammad within 5 minutes. It is what he does. There's another guy. See, a great match to me. I think they're going to go with Blahal and Chimaev. I do think they're going to do that. But anytime there's a delay, you go, okay, is there something I'm missing? I mean, I'm not a professional matchmaker. I'm just a fan. But if you're not going with that, you must be considering something else. Is that a reasonable conclusion? There's a guy named Rakhmonov. Fights out of Kakistan. Killer, stud. He's basically Chimaev. You go look at his record, you look at his background, he is Chimaev. You look at his finishes, you look at his win-losses, he's essentially Chimaev. Those two are going to cross paths, but for whatever reason, when you get two bulls, somebody gets the bright idea to keep them apart. We'll do that fight later. We'll hold off on that fight. I mean, in all fairness, when history goes by, it's why we miss out on great matches, because we're waiting. This guy's not going to lose, and this guy's not going to. These guys are going to run into each other, and we're going to build steam for it, and then you don't even get the fight. If I had it my way, you make the fight that you can make when you can make the fight. Okay, again, I'm not a professional matchmaker, but I will throw Rakhmonov in there. They're not going to put Rakhmonov with Chimaev, even though that's the fight the hardcores would like to see. The hardcores and Main Street are going to want to see Blahal, but you do got to think about Rakhmonov. And if Brady is coming a little late to the party and he's trying to poke his nose in here, and he's realizing that I got to get where the attention is, and the attention is following Blahal right now, Brady's done everything right. I will just submit for you guys a really interesting match would be Brady versus Rakhmonov. And the only thing Rakhmonov's got against him is the only thing Brady's got against him, which you guys just simply don't know who he is right now. Rakhmonov has a beautiful record as well. I mean, I'm going off the top. I know Brady's is 15-0 because I just looked at it before I made this. I think Rakhmonov is 15-0. It's something along these lines. It isn't 11-0, isn't 12-0, isn't 13-0. Isn't that the same thing as 15-0? Right? I mean, it's right in there. And if you did want to look at the matchup and you want to look at these two grappling heavy guys that don't get tired, they're not afraid to compete, they expect to win. It's a very interesting match. So Brady is now a player. Brady is purely a player because he has made himself a player. He did everything right. Let's give him his due. But you guys do need to know who he is. This guy absolutely matters. He is potentially consequential within the division. Is he going to get Blahal right now? I don't think so. But I respect that Blahal stuck to the gimmick because so many guys, right, they run the gimmick to get to a certain place and they forget about everybody. Okay, I'm up here now. That's okay. That's the way the game is played. But I like the guy that'll still go that way too. He'll go up the ladder, but he'll go down too. Blahal got tested today. Blahal passed the test, at least with me. And Brady is starting to play a game now. And it's time that you guys know who he is.